Classifying angles. Let's take a look at the different types of angles and how they relate to one another. There are a lot of vocabulary through this section, but I think some of it you might already know. An angle, that is the measurement that is formed by two rays or segments where they come to a specific endpoint. The vertex is known as that specific point where they come together. It's the point where they intersect. Angle and vertex are closely related. Next, we have four types of angles. A right angle measures 90 degrees. An acute angle has to be less than 90 degrees. An obtuse angle is an angle that is greater than 90, less than 100. And a straight angle looks like a straight line. It's exactly 180 degrees. Now the last two words here are a combination of two different angles. Two angles that have a sum of 90 degrees are known as complementary angles. Two angles that have a measurement of 180 degrees are known as supplementary angles. Let's take a look. With this protractor, we see a lot of points with different measurements. Complementary angles. Angle OMP. OMP. Well, how many degrees is angle OMP? We can use the protractor to find the measurement. Let's count by tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. If you noticed, I counted from each one of the tens values. We missed 5 below at point O. We missed 5 above at point P. We had 5 full jumps, so that's 50 degrees, but let's add on the extra 10. OMP would be 60 degrees. QMP. Well, angle QMP. Well, that looks like an acute angle. Let's do our full jumps. 10, 20. But remember, it's not just 20. We have 5 on each side. So this angle would be a 30-degree angle. So because 60 and 30 make 90 degrees, that is why they are complementary angles when compared to each other. Supplementary angles. For supplementary angles, we need to look at RMP. RMP. Well, let's fill in the missing measurements for RMQ. Let's count by our tens. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, but we have an extra 5. So this angle would be 75. For RMP, it would be the 75 plus 30 more that we already knew. RMP would be 105 degrees. The second angle that we need now is NMP. NMP. Well, if you notice, NMP is a combination of two pieces here as well. So NMO would be 10 plus 5 more. NMO would be 15 degrees. We now need to add 15 and 60 together, and that would give us 75 degrees. And when you add 105 and 75 together, you get 180 degrees, which is why those two angles, when put together, are supplementary angles. Here are some concept questions. If you know that angle M and N are supplementary, right? Well, once again, supplementary means 180 degrees. Let's take a look at this question. If angle M is 64, how can we use that information to find out angle N? Well, if we know that they together equal 180, why can't we subtract the one that we know? And whatever we're left over with, that must give us angle N. So in this case, angle N equals how many degrees? Well, once you do your borrowing, you find out that angle N is going to be 116 degrees. Second example, angle F and G are complementary. Well, we know that complementary angles are going to be 90 degrees. So, if angle G is 41, how many degrees would angle F be? Well, once again, if we know that together they're complementary, that means 90. and we know that angle G is 41, let's subtract that 41 out of the 90, and whatever we're left with is going to give us angle F. So when we borrow and then subtract, we find out that angle F is going to equal 49 degrees. One last example I'd like to go over with. It's not really an example, it's examples. 5 of them to be specific. Our vocabulary talked about 4 of these. Our vocabulary talked about acute angles being less than 90, right angles being exactly 90, obtuse angles being greater than 90, but less than 180, because 180 degree angles are known as straight angles. But there is a 5th type of angle. If you notice where that red angle sign is, we're talking about this large angle that is greater than 180. What do we recall that? Well, this type of angle is kind of special. We call this a reflex angle. And these are the 5 different types of angles.